Hi guys, in this video we're going to make a lion face cake. Now I did actually bake 3 cakes for this video, but I think I'm only going to use 2. So I've got a 10-inch one and a 6-inch one, I think it is. I've got a cake card that's the same size as my biggest cake. The smaller one's going to be the nose, the bigger one's going to be like the mane. So I'm just putting the small one in so I can see where the nose is going to go. And then I'm drawing the shape of my mane. So I've kind of drawn a line so that my circle becomes more of a teardrop shape. And we're just going to cook that cake card then to that shape. So I'm going to place my cake on this or under this, and then I can cut around the edge of my board so that it matches with my cake card. Okay, so I'm going to put some buttercream on my cake card and we'll stick the cake onto that. Like so. Thinking about it, I should have really cut this cake in half and put a buttercream layer in, and I didn't, and I wish now that I had done. But let's put some buttercream on the top and add our smaller tier, or our smaller cake. Then we need to just shape it a little bit. So taking a sharp knife, we're going to cut a little bit off this top edge here, a bit of a diagonal, and we'll do the same at the opposite side. So this will be the top of the head. These cuts will be kind of where the ears are going to go. Then let's just take kind of the top corner edge off so that the face is more curved rather than it being really angular at the edges. I'm going to put 2 cuts in here. This is going to be the bridge of the nose. Then let's cut out our eyes, so cut in straight kind of upwards, and then let's cut a little bit off the side here, because this will make like the nose. This will be the side of the nose that we're just cutting now. And I think I'm going to have an open mouth on this one, so we're going to cut a little triangle out of the bottom, just cut a little bit deeper just in the middle of those eyes, just so the bridge of the nose will kind of stand out a bit more. And I'm going to cover the whole thing in chocolate buttercream. Now you can use buttercream, you can use chocolate ganache, it's up to you. So it's a little bit easier for me to smooth the mane because it's a nice flat surface. It's proved a bit more difficult to cover the face. So if you need to just put it in the fridge for a little bit, or even the freezer to firm up your sponge to make it easier, I think I'm going to leave it like that. So while that's setting, I'm going to put it in the fridge. So while it's setting, I'm just going to cover my board in fondant. Now I haven't rolled it quite big enough, so let's just roll it a little bit bigger. There we go. And I'm just going to cut off any extra from around the edge with a sharp knife. And we've covered this one in white because we're going to try and airbrush it later. I don't airbrush much, so it'd be good to have a bit of a play around with that. So airbrushing, just going to use a piece of paper. We're going to tear the edge and see what kind of effects we can get. I'm hoping for some hillsides, mountainsides, even some little clouds. So I don't want to be neat with this. It doesn't really matter exactly what the lines look like. Maybe this one's going to be a little cloud. So I'm going to start with like a yellowy kind of green, and I'm going to go under my piece of paper. So we get a little bit of a line left where the paper's been. Let's move the paper further down, and I've added a slightly darker green now to the airbrush. Yep, I think I quite like that. Let's keep going down, and also keep tearing the paper so you get in a slightly different shape each time. Okay, let's try and do some of the other side. Now I'm not too worried about the middle of my board because my cake is going to cover up the centre of my board. I'll try going upwards this time instead of down. Just spraying a little bit further down on my board so that I've got a bit of green down there as well. But I'm not worried about the hillsides being near the bottom. They're going to be near the top side. And really I need to be going a little bit more yellow now up here. And I think near the bottom of my board we'll cut out some little leaf shapes. I'm not sure how well you can see this. Apologies, I kind of did this slightly off camera. So I'm using a darker green now. Now I should really have put some gloves on because my fingers are getting really covered in this airbrush colour. And it is just edible food colour that we use for this. I'll put links in the description box to everything that I've used as well in this video. So just going to go over, you can see where it's a little bit wet and I've smudged some bits, but because the cake's covering a lot of this board, I'm not going to worry too much. We're only going to see kind of the outside couple of inches. Okay, so for the sky we want to go a little bit below. I'm going to use my little cloud one. I think I might have left a bit of green in the airbrush so it looks slightly turquoisey. Let's go a bit darker with our blue. For covering the lion, we're going to use some pale yellow fondant. Now I used 3 packs to cover this one. And I'm just going to press around like the shape of the face, just gently at first. But try and push out all the air. We don't want too much air left under the fondant. And then let's push around the outside edge of the mane. Once you've done that all the way around, we can cut off all the extra that goes beyond the edge of the mane down there. Now keep hold of it because we're going to use it for ears and extra bits. So our first bit, we've kind of rolled the ball so it's got a point on either end and curved it up for our mouth. Now, I did put a small piece of black under the nose first. Then we've got a nice dark brown for our nose, and I've rolled it into an oval and pressed that just at the top of the nose. Then let's go for kind of it's pink with a bit of black that I've used for the tongue. And again, another oval that we're just going to sit in the mouth. Then for the eyebrows, I've rolled a piece of dark brown, so it's pointy at one end, and then I've cut the other end quite straight. We're just going to stick those above the sort of eye sockets that I made. And you can curve them around into whatever position you want the eyebrows to go into. Let's give the mane a bit more texture now. Just using my Dresden tool to draw in lots of lines coming from the face outwards. And they don't have to be even lines. You can space them out however you like. Pressed harder on some lines than others so that they're not all looking the same. Let's put a few just under his chin. And just a few around kind of the edge of his mouth. Not too many on there. I want his face to be quite smooth. Bit more of a line just under his nose there. Then we're going to add some colour. So I've been using the airbrush today, so let's use that again. I'm going to just darken the colour slightly with a bit of yellow. And I'm going to put it on the mane. I'm trying to put some kind of lines in across where we drew the lines in earlier with the Dresden tool. And then I'm going to go over it again a bit darker now, actually, in orange. So don't go too dark at first. You can always go darker, but if you go too dark, it's difficult to make it lighter again. Can you see I've also sprayed a little bit kind of on the face and down the bridge of the nose, and tried to leave the mouth area quite pale. And once I've done my orange, I'm going to go over in brown. Now the brown, really, I want to try and catch the very outside edge of my mane, and then also the bit that's right against the side of my face, and then maybe add in a few lines, again following the lines we drew in with the Dresden tool. And you can see I've already made his ears as well. They're just at the side. I've kind of sprayed those in the middle. They're just a ball, and then I just push my thumb in the middle so you can see my thumbprint in there, and the thumbprint bit's the bit that I've sprayed with the airbrush colour. And then we're just going to stick these on either side of our head up near the top. And let's just stick in some little teeth. So it's just white pieces of fondant. I've kind of rolled them to a little triangle shape. And then we're going to put in 2 ovals of white for our eyes. 2 ovals of dark brown for the eyes. Just give them a little press on there. I'm going to have mine so he's looking sort of inwards slightly, because I think I might put a little butterfly on his nose. Just a small ball of white in each eye. Just keep it nice and tiny. I think I'm going to move those up near the top of the eye. And then just a small bit of dark brown just above each eye. So I've rolled it nice and thin with a point on either end, and it's just going to go over the very top of each eye. And I've just put a bit of water in the middle of my board so that the fondant goes a bit sticky, so our cake will cling to it. And let's just drop that on there carefully. Then let's add our little butterfly. So I'm going to use some pink fondant. I'm going to roll it nice and thin. Then I've just used a heart cutter to cut out our 2 top wings, and a smaller heart cutter for the bottom wings. And for his little body, or the butterfly's little body, I'm going to put a small circle of fondant just in the middle. A little teardrop shape for the bottom section of the body with the point going downwards, and then a slightly bigger ball for the head that we'll just stick at the top of there. Then for the patterning on our wings, we're going to keep it nice and small. I'm going to roll some tiny little balls of pale pink for the bottom, and some tiny little teardrop shapes for the top of our wings. Keep them nice and small. So there he is, all finished, my little lion head. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and more.